So an overview of April. I finished my master's, I finished all my coursework, I packed up and sold my apartment, I did a cross-country road trip, and then I flew to Africa, so... Hello everyone and welcome to my escape. I'm finally back, I'm finally doing another video. This is the first video I'm actually filming at my placement. If you're looking for book recommendations or if you're looking for book ideas, this is not the video for you. You can really go and watch any of my other content. This specifically is a life update, it's catching up with me. It's why I haven't posted in so long because it has been so long. And really it's just giving that behind the scenes. So again, if you're not interested, you want books, click on another video. If you want to know what's up, keep watching this one. Welcome to everyone new here. We do actually have a fair portion of new people on the channel, and you joined at a very bad time because I posted my one video and then I went silent for like 3 months and now I'm back. So I am sorry for that. I try not to make that a regular occurrence. This has just kind of been a special circumstances. But again, welcome to my channel, welcome to my escape. My name's Katie, and usually I talk about books, primarily romance, fantasy romance, and used to be a little bit of sci-fi, but that's been a while, so we'll see if we come back to that. So at the beginning of 2024, I posted my 2024 goals and kind of what the channel was going to look like, and that had a little bit of life update, kind of what we can anticipate throughout the year. So for me, 2024 is a big year. I'm doing a lot of things and it's great. For the channel, that's not always the best thing because it means that the channel is not my main priority, but at the same time, I love being on the platform and I've missed it so much, and I'm really trying to make it in much of an ingrained routine as I can. Anyways, at the end of the 2024 goals video, I said, hey, before I go to my placement, because I don't have a lot of information on it, before I go, I'll tell you more about it so that you know what we were looking at going into the summer. And then I didn't film that one. Well, I did, except I filmed it in the airport before I flew out, and I was half delirious because I was on no sleep, and I was trying to cram that video in right before checkout and right before I was going to go to the airport, and it was messy. It was messy. I spent half the video looking behind me at the clock, so we just scrapped it. And I said, you know what, I'll have time. Somewhere along the way, I'll have some time. I can film it. And then guess what? I had no time. But now I'm at my placement, I'm settled, I've finally been able to do laundry where it actually dries, and that is a lifesaver. Man, I don't like damp clothes, but it's great and I love my placement, but we're gonna walk through kind of everything that happened because, so I keep saying we'll get into it, now we actually are going to get into it. So I posted a video last week, hoping this comes up the following week, but I posted a video last week that was my March wrap up. It's June now. And in it, I was like, there's 1 week left of school, like I'm so stressed, blah, 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 blah. And that's true, okay? So basically, picking up from there, how did it play out after that? The way it was supposed to go was not the way it went. But I had a plan, okay? I had a plan. That last week was super hectic and there was so much to do. But then, you know, I thought it was ease out. I was supposed to have 5 to 7 days of like empty space. And in this empty space, it was gonna be packing up my apartment because I was moving and, you know, officially finishing and wrapping up school. So I was gonna be packing up my apartment, packing my car to drive across the country. And then also I thought that I could film some content. So I had content planned and I was like, I can film it and it'll be great. And I was like, I'll film it before I pack my books up, so I'll still have the background. And then with this content filmed, then throughout the rest of the time where I'm really busy or I'm traveling a lot, I can edit and I can still post and everything will be on schedule and everything will be fine. So I actually had like a whole like posting schedule lined out. I had the ideas planned. It was all together. I just had to film and edit it. These 5 to 7 days came about and I decided, you know what? I need to learn how to code. So let me pick up 4 coding workshops on 2 separate languages when I have no background in coding, and I thought I could get to intermediate in both of them in 4 days. Make it make sense? It doesn't. It literally doesn't. I also way underestimated how long packing would take me. Way underestimated. So yeah, no content was filmed. But you know what? It's gonna take me 4 days to drive home. I went to school in Ontario, I live in Alberta, I had to pack everything up, put it in my car, drive home. So I was like, you know what? It's gonna take me about 4 days to get home. So that's fine because it's gonna be 4 days of me, myself, and I in a car. I can set up a little camera, I can drive on roads where nobody's at, and I won't be holding it, but I can film content. I can film my book wrap-ups. Like, you don't actually need me to stare at the camera in order to talk about books. So I could do that. I would like set my camera up as like a little passenger in the car, and then I could do my wrap-ups, or I could do, you know, summarize this series or author recommendations or all these other videos that I had planned. I was like, I can still film them in the car. It's gonna be a bit of a weird setup, but maybe I'll get some like B-roll footage and I can do like a vlog type style thing, and it'll be like tracking me across the country. And that could be like cool. Maybe I'll do a question and answer because I haven't done one of those. So I was like, it'll be fine, it'll be great, it'll be grand. And then my mom, bless her soul, we love her, she was like, you know what, I'm actually gonna take time off work and I'm gonna fly out to you and I'll drive back with you so that you don't have to do 4 days alone in a car. And I said, oh my god, Mom, thank you, I love you, yes, okay. So she did, and I was like, you know what, that's fine. I'm not gonna vlog with my mom in the car because that would be super weird and I'm not really about that life. But what I can do then is I can still take that B-roll footage, or I can still edit, or maybe in the hotel room or something, I could film, and then in the car I could edit, like when we switch off driving. I was like, we could still make this work. I could also plan more videos in depth, or like figure things out. It'll be great. So I was like, still content on the mind. So then the workshops happened, and then it was back into writing my last essays and studying for my last exams, and everything was wrapping up. My apartment was getting emptier and emptier. I was making sure I was saying bye to everyone and seeing everybody one last time, and everything was coming together. And then my last day was very hectic because my last essay, I say of all time, but probably not, but my last essay of my master's was due. My last exam in my master's was on that day, and my mom flew in and landed on that day. So I picked her up, submitted my last paper, went to my last exam. The next day, we left. So my mom helped me clean my apartment and everything. We loaded everything in the car, and then we drove. But the way Canadian geography is laid out, because of the Great Lakes, it's faster for me to actually go through the States and then back into Canada rather than coming across Canada. Into the States we go, everything's good, everything's grand. I'm Canadian, let's remember that. Driving. My mom's not feeling great, my mom's not feeling great. My mom's in incredible pain. My mom's appendix burst while we're driving through the States. Again, I'm Canadian, I don't have American healthcare. She doesn't have American healthcare. So we're like, I'm not touching the American healthcare system with a 10-foot pole. I'm sorry, but no. I just drove the whole way, and I drove not necessarily as fast as I could, but with as few stops as I could and like best routes and everything, because I wanted to get back across the border so that we could have healthcare. And my mom sat beside me in excruciating pain for like 2 days. Just, yeah. It was bad. It was bad. So that was not the road trip that either of us had envisioned, and it was very stressful. We ended up making it home. She goes into the hospital, gets emergency surgery. I was only supposed to be at home for about 3 days, just under 3 days. So the 3 days were primarily spent chilling at the hospital, hanging out with her, because who wants to be at the hospital alone? And unloaded my car, and that's essentially all I did at home. Because I was also thinking maybe I could have a video on like unloading my books at home, or like setting up my bookshelf, or something, some bookish content I still had in my mind that I was gonna make some of it. And then no, other life came in, other priorities were set. So then I was like, okay, now what do I do? So after the 3 days, I had to then fly to Africa. My mom's good. I will preface that. She's doing well. She's doing well. So then I now have to fly back to Ontario to meet up with my classmates, to then fly to East Africa for our summer placement. So I have to drive to the airport. So back in the car with my dad, we stop, we say hi to my grandpa, and then I fly out. So because I had to fly from Alberta to Ontario and then Ontario to East Africa, I was in the airport or in the plane for about 50 hours. 50. It's a long time. It's a long time. So I was like, you know what? I could film some content, because this is what's on my mind. So when I flew to Toronto, I had to overnight in Toronto. So I stayed at a hotel, and then in the hotel, I tried to film some content. And that was one of the ones where it's like half delirious, like this video, except I was half delirious because I was on no sleep and I was just stressed. But before that one, I filmed my April wrap up. So I actually do have that one, and it's kind of not the best video, but I don't want to refilm it because I already just feel like I'm so behind. So I'm editing that one. I don't know if that one will be up before this one or if this one will be up before that one. I'm not entirely sure. It's going to depend on editing and timelines for the rest of my week, but that's not really that important. I did film the one video, and then I said, okay, I have one filmed, which means I can edit on the flights. I did not edit on the flights. I edited a little bit, but then I was like, I'm gonna try to learn the language, and I'm gonna like prep for this. And then my classmates were like, oh, well, we want to do this, or what's your placement, or let's talk about our positions, or So yes, again, life-wise, it was great. It was honestly one of the easiest travels I've had. All the planes were on time, nothing was delayed, everything was easy. But on a content side of things, wasn't great. Wasn't great. And then we landed, and obviously I know where I am. I know where I went in East Africa, but the internet still scares me a little bit. A lot of it. And I don't think I want to say where I am. I don't know why that's where I draw the line, but it is. I will tell you about every weird random book that I read and my innermost thoughts on them, and that doesn't bother me at all. But I don't want to tell you where I am. So I don't mean when I say I'm in Africa or I'm in East Africa, I don't mean to be generalizing it, and I don't mean it as it's like a homogenous place, because it's honestly very different. Even the country I'm in now, it's very, very diverse. It's more like a safety and like a my comfort level thing. I don't specifically say where I am. But anyways, so I'm just gonna say East Africa. So my group, we arrived in East Africa, and then we spent the first 3 weeks of our trip traveling around and looking at different systems and different capacities that they have. And I'm not going to get into it because it's more like it's my real life, it's my work and my studies and everything. So it's not interesting to a lot of people, but I found it absolutely fascinating. But it was exhausting. We usually were never anywhere longer than like max would be like 2 nights, and we saw so much, and it was such an incredible experience, and it was very, very cool, but it was very, very busy, and it was very, very exhausting. So there was not a second that I had to film a video. And then at the end of that, we all went our separate ways, and we have placements throughout the country on like different interest areas. So then we went to our placements. So I'm now settled at my placement, my clothes are dry, everything's consistent, I've got started on the work, I have a good idea on like pace and how things work, and I am absolutely loving it. Loving it. I knew I was loving the country when I first arrived and did the first 3 weeks here, but it's a little bit different when you're never actually somewhere that long. Like it gives very like a traveled feeling, not really like a living it feeling, whereas now I do feel like I'm living it, and I absolutely love it here. I love it here, and the work is so interesting, and I love the people, and I love the culture, and I'm having literally the time of my life. Every day I wake up before my alarm, partly because there's a rooster that goes off before my alarm and before dawn, and I just like lie in bed and I'm like, I'm so excited, I'm so excited, I'm so excited, I'm so excited. So I'm literally over the moon, and work is great and life is great, but I love doing my content and I miss it. So I was like, you know what, everything else is kind of stable for now. It does vary week to week in terms of like quantity and timelines, but for the most part it's pretty stable, so it's time to get back on the content, which is why I'm here filming that with you today. My phone just overheated, so now my iPad had enough time to cool down, so now we're back to filming on the iPad. If you're seeing the angles change, I'm just apparently gonna alternate my devices and figure out the editing later. But anyways, yes, so everything I'm doing on my data. So initially I had to like price it out and see if it was even affordable or if that was just like not accessible, but honestly it's not that bad. And then I did post my one video last week just to kind of see, like before I put the effort into filming another one, just to see how much data it would take to upload and like the cost of that. But honestly it's not bad. It's not bad at all, and I really miss doing it and I miss interacting with everybody. So for me it's worth it. At least it's worth it for now. Maybe when my budget changes at the end it won't be worth it anymore. But for now, I can afford it and it's worth it and it makes me happy. I am working and some weeks are busier than others, so I might still miss a week here or there. Ideally though, on my new schedule moving forward, I want to try to post every other Saturday. So I still am going to keep doing Saturdays, but I want to post at least 2 videos a month. I don't know if I can commit to 4, primarily because of July. I might post some extras. You know, it might be like this month I do every Saturday, the next month I do every other Saturday. That's the goal. Maybe some shorts too. I haven't looked at what the data on that is to upload or if that's really worth it. But ideally for now, I want a video up every other Saturday. Oh, and then a timeline. I forgot to say a timeline. This will kind of be the situation for the next like 2 months, 3 months. And then I'm kind of going back more to like the travel-esque, not like the living in one area, but like the traveling around. So this will be kind of the situation until October. I should be home in October. So yes, this will be for the next little bit. I'm loving life. I'm having a great time. It's just my book content has kind of, you know, dropped off a little bit. But this makes me so happy. And you know, I know you can't have everything in life, but I'm trying. I'm really trying. And then in terms of just like kind of like the reading, so as I said, I'm placed rural now and I'm doing a lot more field work than initially anticipated. So I wasn't sure when I left how much reading I was actually going to be able to do, because when you're in a lab, you're not really like reading it. The two don't go hand in hand. But when I'm doing field work, and I'm doing field work here specifically, there's a lot of distance that I'm covering. There's a lot of travel time in there from location to location. So audiobooks have been a lifesaver for me because I can't read in the car because it'll make me sick. But I can listen to a book as we drive around. Granted, they've been pretty short, but I have crushed so many books so far. I didn't pack a physical book, not one, for this trip. Everything is either ebook or audiobook, and I'm trying not to read it online if I own the physical copy back home because I want to read my physicals back home. But yes, that's pretty much all I have for you right now. So sorry that I went so long without posting. I really tried. In my mind, I was trying. And in my mind, I thought about this every week and how could I make this happen? And I tried to have a plan and I tried to do things in advance and it just did not happen. But yes, we're back now. We're gonna try to make it work. But I think that is all I have for you today. Thank you again for your patience. Welcome to everybody that's new, and thank you for sticking around. I'm hoping to be better, but again, 2024 is up in the air, and I do recommend you go check out that 2024 goals and life update video in case I wasn't clear on any of this. But thank you for your patience. I look forward to talking to everyone again and to like being a part of the community again. And I can still reply to comments and I can reply to messages over on Instagram, and I'm trying to be a little bit more active on Instagram. But yes, if anything big happens on YouTube, please send me an update because I can't necessarily watch as much as I used to. That's all I have for you today. Again, welcome to everyone that's new. Thank you for everyone that has stuck around. Thank you for your patience. It is what it is. Life is really good. Sometimes other things gotta give though in order to make way. So we're trying to find that balance again and trying to get back onto it. I am on Goodreads and I am on Instagram. If you want to check me out on either of those platforms, it'll be linked down below. Aside from that, I post videos every other Saturday. So ring that bell for notifications and you won't miss anything, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Bye!